Welcome to the Love Sessions. I'm Nori, and I am graced once again to spend time with my amazing, beautiful co-host Lily. Hi, Lil.
Hello, Nori. How are you,
Hello.
beautiful?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm so happy to be here. Love Sessions number 20.
I know.
Oh my goodness. So I'm thinking about patterns. Not like plaid or houndstooth. I'm thinking more, although it is Fashion Week, right?
Oh, okay.
Um, I'm thinking more about like the patterns that hold us back. The patterns that we take on, whether they're energetic or they're thought patterns, that hold us back from really doing or being what we really want to do or be.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, like in a family situation, if you are born into a certain family situation and you're raised to be a certain way in the family, to have a certain, in the hierarchy, you're here. And, you take that on because if you're raised with it, you don't know any other way. But then you reach a point in your growth and in your life and in your expansion where you go, you know what? I'm not really feeling like I'm, taking my power and being who I want to be, or interacting in this relationship as who I really am. There comes that time for a lot of people where you go, this no longer is in sync with who I feel like I am, who I'm opening up to be. Does that make sense?
Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think a lot of us have been there. That whole pattern of like you're talking about the family dynamics and the roles that
Yes.
we all kind of get assigned to play, and then if you want to break free from that, yeah, that's tricky. It can be very tricky.
Right. And especially right now, I mean, last love sessions, we talked about affirmations, but we see a lot. Just, be authentically you. Be, my tagline, be you full out. So, all of this wouldn't be playing out, in the social media screen and in life if there wasn't a need for it. So I think a lot of us are waking up and realizing that the way that we've been before no longer serves us.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about families and their patterns, and I like that word dynamics, is families are organizations within themselves. It's an organism if you think about it, and it functions, all the pieces have to function a certain way for that organization to function, really.
Love
And
that.
yeah, and oftentimes we feel like our role is assigned to us, and maybe we've grown out of that role. Maybe we don't like it anymore. Maybe we never liked it. And then understanding that if we step out of that role, now there's going to be like a whole reshifting that has to happen in that organization. It's going
Well,
to sort of
yeah,
upset the apple cart.
it is. And
Yeah.
the interesting thing about, if it were a corporate organization or a work organization, usually your next role is handed to you, right? Okay, like,
Mm-hmm.
so you're going to get promoted and here's your script. But in a family, when you choose another role, like, I'm not going to be emotionally controlled by your emotions. I mean, and I think that's classic and it's
Mm-hmm.
timeless. And if you find that your mother and your brothers and your sisters are um, creating a pattern for you, and you've accepted that pattern, but now you're saying, no, I don't want to take that next step. I'm going to take the other direction, and because that direction is more in keeping with who I want to be. And absolutely, the mother and the siblings are going to go, wait, what just happened?
Right.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it can be really uncomfortable because, quite frankly, you can end up in a position where they make you the bad guy. Like you're doing this and now you're messing everything up for everybody else? And are you okay with handling that?
Right. You definitely need some support. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't think I could navigate those waters alone.
No, absolutely. And that's a big thing, recognizing the pattern, of course, seeing
Yes.
how the pattern, seeing where it is, what it is, how it works,
Right.
who's, who does this, and then we're supposed to react this way, and then that other person, because if you step back and you observe it for a while, you will see it. It will
Right.
reveal itself to you. And you can even, depending upon how far you want to go, you can even step further back and look at the previous generation and see where those patterns were. Because a lot of times the behavior or the role is inherited.
That's
And
so true.
it's passed down. So you kind of see it. And seeing it will help you if you're the kind of person that likes, all that information. I am. I want to see where all that is working. So that helps me feel more in control of my decisions and the repercussions of my decisions.
Right.
Maybe you don't need all that information. Maybe you're just like, you know what, I'm out, whatever works for you. But if you step back, you will see it. It'll be so, so clear. And
I
then
love
you
that.
can make those choices from there.
And I think if you look at the previous generation and you see that the people that you're interacting with are a product of their environment, they're a product of their experiences, that could give us the opportunity to be more compassionate toward them, especially if, they're going to hold really tight to try and keep you in that pattern when you choose to break free.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's tough, because what's that saying? People will only see what they're ready to see.
Yeah.
So if you're ready to break a pattern, in interaction, or, a habitual pattern in a family, just because you're ready to see it doesn't mean everybody else around you is going to see it.
No.
Yeah. I had a client who had a family of, there was, a lot of alcohol. And when he would go for Christmas, it was the same thing every year. The adult person would go to his elderly parents' home, and it would be the same thing. They would drink, Christmas Eve. They would be unavailable Christmas morning because, of hangovers or whatever. And he would have the same reaction that he had his whole life. And Christmas morning was horrible. When he saw that pattern and he chose to begin to, pry that pattern loose for himself, it was really uncomfortable, and he eventually, there was a lot of contrast, with revealing where you are. You're going to bring to light what happens with the parents, for example. You're going to be telling them, look, your choice to overdrink on Christmas Eve doesn't work for me. So the parents are going to be dealing with, oh my God, I'm over drinking, or whatever that brings up for them. And oh my God, what I'm doing is creating this for my son. And, that's a huge tidal wave that suddenly comes up, But the happy ending to the story was, over time he set a boundary and said, when I come to visit you on Christmas, if you get drunk, I'm going to leave. And that was the boundary. And interestingly, the mother never got drunk again. But the next year the father did, and he left, and everything was fine. There wasn't a lot of drama. It was just make a phone call, change the airline ticket, boom, gone back home. And then next year it was amazing for them.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So it doesn't always work out that way, but the important part is bringing it back to you and being true to yourself and saying this family dynamic, this pattern, and it could even be just between you and you, right? This pattern that I have of coming home and eating from the minute I walk in the door until the minute I go to bed isn't working for me anymore.
Right. I think the the beautiful part and the most important part of like the story of your client is that he stuck by his decision. He said, if you do this, then I'm going to do this. And much of life is, if that happens, then this happens. Right. And he stuck by it because very easily it could have gone the other way where, he's like, oh, okay. And he kind of slipped back into the old pattern. But him building his own strength, and I'm sure working with you had a lot to do with that, building his own strength and his own boundary and his own self-empowerment to say, okay, if that starts to happen, it's not even about that person. I'm just going to go.
Right.
Because that's what works for me. And that's the whole thing about breaking the pattern. It's because we know you can't really try to change other people.
Yeah.
That never works.
That never works.
Never.
No.
It always has to start with you. So obviously recognizing the pattern and seeing, does it have to be broken? Or can you just bend it a little? Like I think in this case, he bent it a little. He didn't say you can't drink.
I love that.
Right. Like if you take a drink, then I'm out. He said, if you do this, then this is going to... So he kind of, all right, she didn't drink. He did drink. It got excessive. Mm-hmm. It went there. Okay. Bend it a little. Like, what's comfortable to you?
I love that. Kind of like negotiating.
Yeah. But you don't even have to tell the other person what's going on. You have to know, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Who's going to work for me.
Right.
In those family, the holidays, they're so charged.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But in any kind of thing like that, where a family is coming back together, or any group of people is coming back together, and there's like that dynamic, you get to choose: do I react, do I respond, or do I pivot?
Right. I love that.
Just kind of.
Yeah. I'm gonna go over here, and the beautiful part of all of this is that we're not making anybody else wrong.
Right. Because they're not.
Yeah, they're not wrong, but trying to make them wrong is going to pull you back into a pattern. It's going to pull you back into the arguments, about you did this, no, I did no, because you did that, right? I mean, it's going to pull you back into the pattern.
Right.
So it's almost like you have to create something completely new in order to change it.
Yeah. Because if you try, back to the whole, the organization thing, in families, you always know there's someone that's in charge, whether it's the mom or the dad or the granddad or, there's, or the older sibling or whatever. There's the person the figure who is sort of in charge. Right. And everybody kind of falls in behind them. And there's nothing wrong with that. It works. But if you now come in and you try to change everything, then you're stepping into that role. You're stepping into the role of the power person that's going to tell everybody else what to do. And it's not going to work because they're just not going to know what to do. They're like, wait, who do I listen to? Like, what? You can't tell me what to do like that. You're not the older one. You're not, whatever. And it just makes people crazy. So don't do that. Just know within yourself what you're going to do, how you're going to handle things. Going back to the holidays, and you said something earlier, support system. So important. So important. I talk to clients about setting up the place, like besides educating yourself and making choices, sometimes you can't avoid those get-togethers, especially like holidays and things like that. So rather than dreading it, spending the week or the month before dreading it and then coming home and being miserable, trying to decompress from the whole thing, set up that support system for yourself ahead of time. Yes. Set up some self-care for after the event. Like if you're going to that family dinner or that wedding weekend or whatever, before you leave your house, it sounds silly, but it could make so much difference. Before you leave your house a place that you want to come home to. Leave it set up as a sanctuary for yourself. So when you come home, you can literally drop that baggage at the door and now take care of yourself. Even in the car, like when you get in the car, have some music ready for you, an audiobook that you want to listen to, the scent that you want to smell. Having all of that prepared for yourself ahead of time helps you not be so charged in the situation.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, because you know you have this safe space to go to, and it makes a difference. It helps.
Wow, that is super empowering. That is so empowering.
Yeah, and nobody needs to know, right?
Exactly. They're like, wow, they take good care of their car. Look at that.
Yeah.
When there's a whole secret story behind all that. I love that. I love that. And I love how the love sessions bring love and bring empowerment. I mean, that's part of loving yourself back to you.
That it's always, always, always about that. And just because you're part of a family, an organization, a group, an organism, and you have sort of your role handed to you, doesn't mean that you don't get to love yourself. And you don't get to play that role the way you want.
Right.
You get to choose.
Right. And sometimes success, in the beginning is just recognizing the pattern and saying to yourself, oh, here it is, there's the pattern. Mm-hmm. And then just choosing what you can do to feel good. Maybe the family's going to do exactly what they were going to do anyway, but if you it's a huge win if you can just go, oh, here it is. Mm-hmm. And for the next 5 minutes at least, I'm going to bask in recognizing it and the self-love that I brought to myself. And then you may get pulled into, the dynamic, but it's still such a huge win. And the next time it might be 10 minutes, and the next time 20, and the next time half a day, until you realize, wow, I've totally shifted that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about yourself and taking care of yourself and not feeling victimized, not feeling like, oh, there they go, Aunt Susie's going to make me feel bad about myself, or, Sister Laura is going to, make me feel like I'm not successful enough or something. No, that doesn't, they're going to play their role, but that doesn't mean you have to accept it.
Exactly. Or, oh, my mother's going to make me feel like, I didn't plan well enough, or I didn't bring the right stuff to the party. And you know what? I did plan the way exactly I wanted to, and I did bring what was right in my mind. Yeah.
But she is who she is. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna change her. There's I don't know if you've ever heard. There's a great concept, constellation therapy. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of it?
I feel like I've heard of it, but I don't remember what it is.
I believe the full term is family constellation therapy. So it just came to my mind because it's literally set up for like these family situations and like you mentioned alcohol before, especially where there's addiction and things like that, which sets up some very painful roles. Definitely I invite listeners to Google more of it. I'm not an expert in it, but the way it works is it's group therapy, but it's sort of switched around. So you are brought into a group of people that take on the roles of your family members for you. And then, your therapist who you're working with, you kind of play out the scenarios. So the people play out those scenarios for you, and it helps you see things in different ways, in different levels, prepare for the thing, for the actual events, but also see things in different ways and discover a whole lot about it. It's really, really fascinating. I heard a lot about it a few years ago, and I recently saw something about it just like the other day. And in a situation like this, it really, really plays a part because it's set up exactly for this kind of thing. And I've never had to do it. I've never done it myself, but I love the concept of it.
I love it too because you get to practice, right? You get to practice, but you're not practicing with the real players.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you're working through the issues with them, but not actually with them. Because we all know if you're trying to drag someone else to therapy or family therapy, that itself can get really, really messy. So this gives you the opportunity to have that experience and do the work on yourself with those other sort of dynamics going on without it having actually be that person.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Powerful and empowering.
Yes. It's always about you. Bring love back to you. Take care of you.
Now I want to go set my car up. That picture is ingrained in my mind, like having the music, having the car clean, and having some essential oils.
Yep.
I have to go take care of my car.
Okay.
Thank you, Lily. This was fun.
Thank you, sweetheart. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Until next
bye.
time. Hey, you know what? Wait, is next time is 21. Next time we can drink.
Yay!
Bye.